if anything, can kindle durable optimism, though it appears to be Artemis II. It has captivated and, yes, unified. For more on the hours ahead and the risks that come with them, we turn, as we have throughout this mission, to our senior national correspondent, Mark Strassmann, who joins us from the Johnson Space Center. Mark, set us up for what will be the end of, we hope, will be a universally successful mission.
Yeah, and so far so great, Major. I mean, right now the capsule is about 27,000 miles from Earth, moving at about 8,400 miles per hour. And the closer it gets to Earth, the faster it's going to keep moving. But think about this, 8,400 miles an hour, that certainly sounds quick. And yet, by the time it makes its reentry, it'll be traveling almost 3 times faster than that, nearly 24,000 miles per hour. And once it makes that reentry point, that's when it starts to get interesting and even dramatic. The capsule will go through a 6 minutes of no contact as it makes its initial reentry. As I said, it'll be moving about 24,000 miles per hour. And that's when the heat shield that is at the bottom of the capsule really has to do its job. It's got to protect the 4 people living inside that capsule, looking to splash down in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego and return to their families. And everything so far today, Major, has been good. There have been no hiccups whatsoever. And we're just sort of waiting now for, after 9 days, for Artemis II to come home after their magical tour of the cosmos.
Mark, you and your team have provided no end of fascinating and incredibly valuable notes to all of us at CBS News. And one thing I detected is that the trajectory coming back to Earth has been adjusted from Artemis I. Artemis I had a trajectory of reentry that was meant to sort of create maximum, if not maximum, very higher friction. This will still have lots of friction, but a little bit less than Artemis I. Do I have that about right?
Yeah, it's a little complicated.
I'm
NASA
sure it
described
is.
it as it's a skip. Believe me, it is to me. It's a skip out of into the atmosphere, then out, and then in again. And they're not going to go quite as high out when they go out, and that's supposed to help diffuse the heat, which was the issue last time. Some of the gas was trapped inside on the underside of the heat shield. It could not escape. They believe that by going out at not quite as high, that the gas will be able to permeate through the shield again, and that will stop the shield disintegrating in chunks. That was such a worry with Artemis I. Now, just to be clear, with Artemis I, even though it did not have a crew, had it a crew, the crew would have been fine, according to NASA, and they really do believe that this is a solution that will solve the issue of the chunking away of the heat shield. But everybody, of course, has their fingers crossed that NASA's right. The astronauts are confident that they are. Everyone on the ground seems to be confident that they are. But the moment of proof is yet ahead for us.
Mark Strassmann, as always, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Former NASA astronaut and engineer Danny Olivas joins us now. He was on 2 space flights and completed 5 spacewalks. But most importantly, Danny, for this conversation, my producer told me that you were part of the team that investigated the heat shield after Artemis I. What is your level of confidence about what we're going to see play out in the next few hours?
Yeah, well, the adjustment that was made by NASA to basically get away from the second reentry during the skip maneuver and go into what they refer to as a lofted maneuver. So they're going to be coming in basically the same trajectory, the same kind of steep angle, but rather than skipping out of the atmosphere, they're just going to kind of skirt the top of the atmosphere for a short distance, and that'll give them the range that they need to be able to reach the landing zone. And what they believe is that the amount of heat that is coming in will not have enough time to kind of bake the avcoat, the heat shield material. That was ultimately the problem with Artemis I, is that when it skipped out of the atmosphere, it kind of cooled down a little bit on the outside, but the inside was still warm, and that's what was generating the gases, and the gases weren't able to escape, and that's what led to the cracking of the avcoat. This trajectory, they believe, is once the avcoat starts to do its job, It'll continue to basically convert and eventually get down deep into the atmosphere that by the time cracking does occur, which they do expect is going to happen, it'll be down low enough and it'll no longer need any thermal protection because it'll be down deep enough into the atmosphere and just basically continue riding it until the parachutes come out.
And Danny, I've read that the heat shield is essentially made of the same technological products of the Apollo era, which, as we all know now, is some 50 years old. Why still use things from then? Is there not something better that we could use now?
Well, that's actually a really great question. The United States is the only country on the planet that has ever brought back humans safely from the moon, right? That says a lot. And Avcoat was actually the material of Apollo was evaluated amongst other types of materials back in the early 2000 timeframe. And then once they did the evaluation, they kind of came back with the answer that the Apollo material, Avcoat, was the one that gave NASA and gave the program the confidence to know that they could do it again, and it was robust enough. And I think now that they understand the failure mode a little bit better, the subsequent builds of Artemis III and after, are going to be built with a Avcoat variant that will be porous enough that it'll allow the gases to escape, where this won't happen again on future missions.
How confident are you everything is going to go as planned this evening?
Well, so no space flight is without risk. And I would be lying to you if I said that there was a zero risk of something catastrophic happening. However, I have a great deal of confidence, having worked alongside, shoulder to shoulder with the engineers and the scientists who put together this material. As you said earlier, I was an independent technical reviewer who was extremely skeptical when I walked in the door. And one thing that NASA did is that regardless of what question I threw at them, regardless of what analysis we asked them to go and perform, they met the challenge and they made it, they passed in flying colors. I'm very confident of NASA's decision to launch Artemis and to bring back the home on this heat shield. I think it was the right decision to make, and I believe the data backs that up.
We could not have a better guest to help us walk us through the next few hours and the end of this historic mission. Danny Olivas, I appreciate your time very much. Thank you, sir.
Artemis.